problem with singles is it's such a hard thing to balance. It's basically only one. That's the reason I ended up with the fry. For any of their modes. But we basically smoke on these things. People will actually come up with tears and make it actually fun. Otherwise,
we're live if you want to. It should be on just the Stonegate page.
On the Stonegate page?
Yep.
okay, +6, everything.
So does he just need to, so just tell him to sign right in?
Yeah, and if you want to go to the Stonegate like official page and make sure there's actually a live stream there, then we can just say, go here.
Would it be under, see, I'm not smart enough for this, I guess. Oh, it says you're live.
Yep.
Oh,
Okay.
If you go to the feed, I think it'll be there.
Okay.
And then all of this will be recorded.
Heck yes.
Of us going, I think it's here.
Are we here? Do we know what we're doing?
Okay, how do I see the feed? It says live. Doody. More. What the heck? I don't know what that is.
He gave me the option to invite people, but he wasn't listed, so I was like, oh, good.
Okay, notice that it should be live on the Facebook page.
I'm not gonna just walk up and start.
Well, I'm not going to end the live stream, so.
Everyone signed in? Corey!
Did you sign me in?
I'm on top of things.
I wonder why it won't let me look at the live. Is it because I'm on mobile and mobile's dumb?
I don't know how Facebook works.
So,
I wonder.
I can see it. I found this to be amusing.
oh, you just click the ha ha ha. Look at that. Okay, sweet. I will watch to see the asses how you run.
It's amazing Carly, there are no people showing the live stream around. So we print this off.
Very much reminded of all these classes I'm watching online. Is this going? Is it working? Alright, now we're live.
Can you hear me? Are we doing okay? The other day, my mic randomly cut out on my work computer, so I had to do a whole bunch of meetings on my cell phone because I'm sitting there and I was just like, I completely sign out. Unfortunately, like the first person I was meeting with newbies, and they're like, and I got on there, I'm like, okay, I don't know what the hell's going on. And then my intern poked around and
Having a live stream, I have too much power.
You should talk to the webmaster. You know who it is.
whatever that's on.
Bart.
I'm not gonna hassle Bart about anything at all.
I'm assuming you'll be over here.
I already hassled them. I'm all, hey, when's this schedule gonna go on? Just for you, he says, bake, and sends it to me. I've been looking at the dailies. You know, there's not much in there. There's a lot of things that people say are rules.
Yeah, a lot of them are just somebody said it, and so everybody assumes it's a rule.
Hello, Miss Ari, I didn't say hi to you.
I went round and round with Robert Dispenser over just exactly that kind of thing when I was Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah.
He's
So
like,
yeah, here is single-handed weapons. Materials.
But yeah, this is
yeah, show them materials.
yeah.
And it should say something to the effect of it has to have a layer.
I was able to send him an official invite now, so.
Oh, heck yeah.
Uh-oh. This whole right side of my body is like hurt.
That's not good.
See this lovely bruise.
Did you sign me in?
What do you mean? Oh, no.
That's a run into something bruise.
Yeah.
That's a hip check bruise.
Well, I was bent over doing everything, getting this probably a good stand.
Used to say that.
And the car kept moving like this.
Yeah.
Yes. Backed me right into the
Okay.
shelf that has the keypad.
Oh,
for this
yeah,
credit card.
yeah, that's what that looks like.
Picked it up, caught my
That-
hip right there on it. Yeah, that was last
At the
week.
Kingdom level, they were like, well, we should take out all this extra stuff so that there's not this overloading, contrasting information. And at the society level, they were like, well, let's take out all of this extra stuff and just let the kingdoms handle what they want. And so they took a lot of detail out, and so a lot of detail was just gone.
Pretty amazing.
I think.
Okay, hi everybody. We're gonna go over just some basic stuff here. And like I say, this is interactive and show and tell. So if you got questions, sing them out, and I've got all these things here as examples for stuff. Apparently, hello live stream. Thank you, Your Majesty. I do appreciate that. But whatever the boss wants, the boss gets. He knew he was gonna get sass out of his night. That's how it works. I'm going to start with a thing that even I did not realize. I learned how to build sticks 20 years ago. And I learned how to build sticks through trial and error and through advice from various and sundry people. Couldn't say if I've ever even, if I've read this recently or not. And I looked in it, the Kingdom of Artemisia Armored Combat Handbook, to tell me all of the rules and exactly what it was that we were going to talk about and make sure that I didn't skip anything or lead anyone astray. And it says that the conventions for building sticks have no differences than the society paperwork. So I pulled the society handbook and read it, and we're going to read it out loud. So for single-handed weapons, which is what we're talking about today, weapons shall be used in one hand and have the following requirements. Single-handed weapons shall be constructed of one of the following: rattan cord Siloflex or Siloflex equivalent, natural polypropylene round rod. It gives some measurements here. 1 1/4 inch is the minimum standard for all single-handed sticks, though, regardless of the material that's used. It goes on to further define rattan cord Siloflex, but we're not playing with rattan cord Siloflex today. So if the weapon has a head, it shall not be constructed of solely rigid materials. The head shall be firmly and securely attached to the haft. Head shall allow at least 1/2 inch of progressive give between the striking surface and the weapon's haft. Okay, we'll talk about that a little bit more in detail as we go through. I've got some stuff in process. No weapon may have a cutting or smashing surface at both ends, which basically just says you cannot butt strike somebody with your single-sided weapon, whereas there are other weapons and two-handed weapons that you can do that with, like a glaive, by way of example. So, when thrusting tips are used on single-handed weapons, they shall have the same diameter, or at least the same diameter as the shaft of the weapon, and they're mounted on and have at least 1/2 inch of resilient foam in front of the rigid tip of the weapon, which is slightly different than 1/2 inch of progressive give.
That's true.
Because you will run out of progressive give on a 1/2 inch tip and it will become rigid once you...
Where does it say progressive give?
On the... right here on the tip section. Yeah, progressive give. 1/2 inch of progressive give between the striking surface and the weapon.
Okay.
We'll talk about the way I build my tips, which we'll discover that this is, well, let me finish. Sword shall have a handguard such as a basket hilt, queans, or equivalent. That's it. Those are the entirety of the rules. So there's a lot of rules that I held in my head. Turns out they're not rules, they're conventions. Maybe they used to be rules. A lot of them are a good idea. But the reality of the situation is that's it. As long as your single-handed weapon follows those very few requirements, you have a legal weapon. So we're going to talk about how I build my sticks. That's all I know. So, talk about materials. We're using rattan. This is a gigantic, to be fair, piece of rattan. It's not illegal by any stretch of the imagination. It's just a lot. It's very, very large. This is a more reasonable sized piece of rattan. This is a fully, this rattan skin is completely intact, unaltered, and not had anything done to it at all, okay? This is a piece of rattan that is not quite as wide, but still pretty hefty, and has had the sides of it planed off with a planer to give it more of a bladed profile and to reduce the weight, make it a little bit more manageable. This is your stick, by the way. It's also been a thing where you see rattan grows in segments like this. I used to peel these off and knock them down. You don't have to. It's an issue of aesthetics. Helps save on a little bit of weight. People will argue with you about, oh, it reduces the strength of the rattan, the life of the rattan. These are disposable. Okay, this is a consumable product. These don't survive. rattan is used because it is an overgrown grass. If you look at the end of it, you want to just hand that, let people look at that one. If you look at the end of it, you can see that it's got essentially a bunch of little tubes, it's fibers in a line. So when it breaks, it doesn't make shards, it doesn't make splinters. It's kind of splinters, but they're more fibers. It's much safer. It's why the society settled on rattan as a material. Also, rattan is flexible, not a lot, but a little bit. There's some fun video of me getting hit in the head with somebody, and the rattan just bows right around my head. It's good times.
It's
It
in slow-mo
flexes.
too, so it's great.
What's that?
It's in slow-mo.
It's in slow-mo too, so it is a good time, and it's flat.
And it was flat.
But I took it because he hit me so hard. I took it. That's so that's material that we usually use. I have always used that. This is new to me. Here we're gonna move right into construction here. This is a piece of skinned rattan. And the reason I have a piece of skinned rattan now is because when I went to purchase rattan, I got there late in the war, and all of the unskinned rattan, or rattan that still had its skin on it, that was in a reasonable size had already been sold. So I was like, I guess this is what I'm buying. We'll try it. What I'm told about this is that I'm going to get a little bit less life out of it. That the skin on rattan makes it a lot more durable, which I believe that. But again, consumable. These are consumable. So I bought a lot of it, and for this class, I cut a whole lot of them down into shapes already, and so I'll be ready to go when I break one. I'll just slap a new tape job on it, and off we'll go. So that'll be that. So this is the roughed out piece. When you pick it, you want to cut to your length. How you decide to cut to your length is a personal decision. You want a long stick, you want a short stick. The good rule of thumb is to stand, hold it with a count for the tab for your basket hilt, and it should just barely touch the ground or not quite touch the ground. It's a good place to start, and then you can adjust as you see fit. Again, just gonna hand that around. That one I've cut to length, and I have roughed out the handle. I don't have very big hands. Oh, we're live streaming. We'll let the hand joke slide. It's true though.
But they're real soft.
I push paper for a living. Skilled too. Anyway, I don't have real big hands, so I like to cut my rattan down to be more manageable, so that I can grip it, so that I can manipulate it, so that I can slide my hand up and down the shaft. Either I want to be at the end of the stick or up close and in tight, and so that I can pick which fingers I'm hanging onto, or if I'm snapping it inside of my basket hilt, or things like that. So I will shape it. You guys can see it, that around where your knuckles wrap around, it's skinnier there. And if you were to cut that off, you'd have a vaguely triangular shape there, because if you look at your hand like that, it's wider up here at the top and narrower down here at the bottom, and it fits your hand. If you were to look at, and I was going to grab my real sword, in period, the handles were oblong shaped or ovoid. Sometimes they were octagonal, but they were definitely trimmed to fit a hand. They also had a palm swell in them, so they were skinnier at the near the pommel and near the blade as well. So shaping your handles is, period, it makes sense, it's real. If anybody grabbed a hold of this and was holding it, if you're trying to use this and use it all day long, your hand doesn't wrap all the way around it, and you've got all kinds of struggles, right? So once you've got your shape cut out, again, this is my personal opinion. I tape handles. I use this is athletic tape, hockey tape. This is cloth tape, and I tape my handle. Immediately put that on there. I have tried to put this on after I've put the basket on many times. You're in a hurry the night before war. You're taping up a fresh stick. One of the things that
baskets off of sticks.
What's that?
I have cut baskets off of sticks.
Sure.
To tape handles.
One of the other things that I had thought was a rule, but clearly is a convention, was strapping tape. So this is packing tape with fibers in it, so it has straps in it. This one has crosshatch fibers, so they're running 2 directions. The most common strapping tape is just running long ways. You are going to get more life out of your stick if you put a layer of strapping tape on it. It also helps hold things together when it starts to go bad and gets mushy. Okay. In the past, I used to run a spiral, which was very tedious and difficult and just required practice. You'd line it up and get that angle and spin your stick, pulling it nice and tight and doing it all the way up. And you'd end up using a lot of tape on it, and it would have these weird wrinkles in it no matter how hard you tried to do it. And so I just, now I do this, I use this tape that's got the cross hatches in it, the fibers go both directions, and I've got one strip going up it, and one strip going down it that covers the vast majority of the stick. Also, come to find out recently, it's not a mandate that you have it, so hey, you're winning. You don't have to have it, it's not required. I put a stabbing tip on this weapon. This is a piece of foam that is designed specifically, but I've picked up all manner of chunks of foam. I've used blue foam, I've used these little things. Somebody gave me these years ago, I have no idea, but it is compressible foam, and I cut a slice of it off and tape it on and cut it to size. Set it on top, and you pass your strapping tape over the top of it, kind of snug it down. Then you take your strapping tape and wrap it around the outside of it because you want to stiffen up the walls of it. So when you're doing a stabbing tip, it's very important to make sure that you're covering the joint between where the stabbing tip and the stick is. And don't even worry about that. And make sure that it's strong there. Breaking a stabbing tip off in the middle of a fight changes your whole day. It's always a bummer. You want to build up the sides a lot. My personal opinion is that I build up the sides so much that when a marshal looks at it and pushes down on it to check it, that they shoot an eyebrow at me because it's so stiff. But up the very, very top, only one layer of tape goes over the top so that it's squishy on the top. These sides will break down immediately on use. It'll start breaking down a little bit. So if it's nice and rigid when you start, your tip's not going to roll over or fall or less likely to break off. It's going to stay in line with your stick. Let's hand that one around for everybody to look at it because, like I say, I've got all of these sticks basically in stages of construction. So once you have gotten your base layer on, then you would, I didn't have enough stuff to do this many steps. Once you have your base layer, then you will take your basket and put it on. Now, different kinds of baskets. There are all manner of different kinds of baskets. Michael's dad sold me my very first basket. It was made by Sickman the Stout. It was a squarish basket. This one is made out of rings. 3/8 inch rod. This thing is bomb proof. So metal baskets, this is plastic injection molded. Anybody who's been around for any amount of time has seen one of these baskets for certain. They are much lighter. These are heavy, and it has to do with what your preference is because either one changes the mechanics of the stick. So changes your pivot point and how you throw your shots. One is not necessarily better than the other. Where did that basket come from? Oh, that's yours? Oh, nice. One's not necessarily better than the others. It is seriously a matter of preference. This is my preference. So you attach it. There's lots of different ways to attach it. Depends on how they were built. Some of them have welded on metal tabs. These are, Jonas, would you throw me that basket real quick? Yeah. Thank you. There's a loose basket that everybody's got. So we've all seen these.
Roger, why do you prefer that one over the other one?
Because I'm weak.
Oh.
Because I'm soft.
Mind or soul?
And modest.
Small hands and soft. Small and soft hands, right? No, I like a lighter stick. I just like a lighter stick. So there are varying conventions. Again, I will not say that one is better than the other. This is just my preferred method. These are an interesting thing. They're made. They've got a flaw in them that you have to fix on every single one. on the back tab, and the tabs are not quite exactly lined up, and so when you tape it down, you put a little bit of pressure on the tab, resulting in many a broken tab here, which I have broken. The original makers of them was amazed that I was breaking them constantly, but whatever. I don't know what to say about that.
What? I didn't say anything.
Nothing. No. I'm on live stream. There's a couple things that I would normally say that. Anyway, so this is what we use here. I use tape to attach mine. Just tape. I take. I do a hockey spin. So I'll one pass of strapping tape, and then I'll take a foot or two of it and spin it until it turns into a cord, and wrap that cord around really tight, and then without cutting the tape or doing anything, I just switch it back to flat tape and wrap it around tight again. As far as the class goes, teaching you how to do that, that's one of those things that nobody wants to see me doing that much swearing and cussing to get that done, but I'm more than happy to show anybody how I do it anytime they're building a stick. So over there. So once you've done your baskets attached onto it, you want to finish your stick. We mark a blade on our stick. This helps the orientation of the fighter wielding the stick to understand where it is that they're striking, so that they're aware of how their shots are going in. Of course, fighters know that if you hit somebody with the side of it, it's known as flat, and we don't take that. We don't allow people to take that shot. So you can be hit flat and not realize it because these are just clubs, not blades. But it is the fighter's responsibility to be aware of the orientation of their stick. Blade tape is handy for that. Also, it makes it look a little bit better. A thing that we used to think was a rule that we realize now is a convention, but is still a good idea. We put contrasting tape on the end of our stick that has a stabbing tip on it. Okay, it's just a visual representation that lets your opponent know that you have a stabbing tip. Chivalry dictates that we inform our opponent that we have a stabbing tip just when we are setting up, so that it's known. But it's also good to have one of these. So stabbing tips also come in all shapes and sizes. Oh, I didn't grab the other one. The other one was a masterful example of a stabbing tip. This construction was made by somebody who had a different notion of how to make a stabbing tip. It's what we call the Q-tip design. So I don't even know what's underneath here.
I'll bet there's leather on that.
Gotta be. It's lumpy and shaped.
No, it's not leather.
No?
No. It is, what did he use? I think it's the blue foam pad
And just wrapped over?
wrapped over it.
Blue foam pad.
Okay. Not necessary. This style of stabbing tip is an older style. It's overkill. It's more than you need, especially if you do a good job on taping your inline tip in. I barely have any swelling. But we'll hand these two around. This one is completed because I'm in my goth phase. It's all black with the ostentatious gold, and then the difference between the two, you can see how deeply personal and customizable a stick is to somebody. So that is my sweet spot. That black stick, that's my sweet spot. That stick right there is my friend Lucas's stick. It is a monster. It also hit a ton. So it hit so hard it wasn't even real. The other thing that you can see on that is that both of those sticks have lanyards on them. A lanyard is also not required in the rules. Nope. No lanyard, no retention device cited in the rules at all. Right? But a lanyard is a retention device, so if you drop your stick during combat, it doesn't fly off into the crowd and hit somebody who it's not intending on hitting. That bigger stick that's going around has a trigger in it as well, which is a loop of leather that's been pinned underneath the basket. You stick your fingers through it, and that helps you hang on to it. It's also I've used triggers a little bit. Triggers changes the way you throw shots. You can do interesting things with triggers installed. I toyed with them and then abandoned them. They're just not my thing. So
I don't want to get hit by that baby.
He's got some oomph to it.
yes, it does. But to swing it hard requires a lot of juice, which, I mean, you know, mass and acceleration, such as it is. That's everything. This is an example of a well-loved stick right here. And so you get to the point where you get super uptight. Well, some people can be super uptight about what does their stick look, how does their tape job working, how, you know, is it pretty? It does not matter. This is what they turn into. This isn't even that old, okay? It's been chewed all up. The basket popped out because it always does, because they're sloped like that. So this is the one that I'm going to be retiring in favor of this new one that I just built today that's going around. And then this one right here will be, these are pretty well matched. I'll put that basket on it, and I'm going to start fighting Florentine because I'm dumb. When I was younger, Florentine wasn't that big of a deal. Now I'm old, Florentine's dumb. So, some of the supplies that you need, as far as how do we cut these sticks, I've used all manner of things to cut sticks. Belt sander flipped upside down inside of a vise. Works really well for carving out your handles. I used a Dremel tool, a saw, and a chisel, and a Dremel with a flap wheel on it. Lots of different things. I've got a belt sander, a 1-inch belt sander in my garage now, which is super handy because it zips these out really fast. But you can do it with limited amounts of tools. You don't necessarily have to have a belt sander. What you've got laying around, what someone else has got that you're asking for the help, and they'll for sure loan you their stuff. I mean, you find any jock and say, hey, help me build a stick, we'll be like, okay. We're all about it. You'll need tape, strapping tape, and of course it turns into a massive collection, and this is not a massive collection in spite of what it looks like. Some scissors, a knife, some string, some probably 550 cord is what I use for those. Really?
Well, we're trying not to hit him.
So hockey tape, electrical tape, little teeny tiny duct tapes. I have a roll of duct tape here that's just got little strips started that I run them off of, and that's it. It's not really rocket science. Again, what we're doing here is building a consumable object, and they're meant to be destroyed, and we destroy them. We do. So, questions?
I think I missed it. What do you use the string for?
Oh, the string?
Yeah.
Part of the ongoing saga of me struggling with this. You see where that tongue popped out on that old stick of mine? That's very common. In addition to me breaking those tongues off, they also pop out of my tape all the time. I've fought with it forever, for always. And so I've drilled holes in one of my baskets, little teeny tiny holes, and this string was originally, I pass them through the little holes that I drilled in the tongue of the basket and lash it down. It works, but not that much better. But this is my tape kit, so that's where it's living. That's why it's there. I'm past that now. Now I just retape them. I just fight them until they blow, and when they blow, I retape them. So it's just what it is. So anybody else? For the love of God, Michael, turn that thing on.
What does His Majesty have questions?
Anyone online have questions?
You can't find one of those foam bunnies to put on the end of your stick. What would you recommend?
Any kind of foam. The foam that's on these that I passed around to you are just I purchased them from the same person I bought the tip from. I've used the blue camping foam. Any kind of squishy foam, just as long as you're getting a 1/2 inch out of it. Like that blue camp foam, it works, but it degrades really quickly. and it has a tendency to, it's not very thick, and you have a tendency to make two discs and try and tape them together and try and make it work, and then you're going to end up with rollover. So, but that's with my method too. So, and it was also years ago because I moved away from doing that sort of thing. So,
I use the foam interlocking floor mats.
Sir Aziz says that he uses the floor mats, the kind that interlock.
yeah, indeed, the floor mats are very, very good. Good thing. It's a good rigid foam. It's got a good sidewall structure to it. It doesn't roll over, and it comes a little thicker than the Blue Camp foam, so you can get away with pretty much one layer. So as far as, there's talk about how deep it is, but the rule is, and it's clear, it says a 1/2 inch, because the safety portion of stabbing somebody really has to do with the fighter more than it has to do with your equipment. You gotta keep track of your equipment, take care of your equipment, make sure you build it properly, but it's that you're not trying to take somebody's head all the way off with a stabbing tip. It's not necessary. So, I mean, when you stab somebody, you stab them in the face. When you're stabbing somebody in the face, according to the rules of our engagement, you don't have to stab them very hard in the face. It's directed touch, really, is about all it is. So, but that's an entirely different class, and I'm not teaching that. No, because then there would be swearing.
Yeah, boy.
Well, thanks. That's class.
Yay!
All right. Woohoo! Vivat!
Viva!
So we're going to talk about Silaflex cover?
All right. Thanks for joining us, everyone online.